I shoot this gun. Now, we were talking about this hammer configuration and so on. Here's how this combination works. Instead of drawing and firing like so, like we did with the thumbing, we are now using a twisting and rolling motion. We take the gun and go this way. Instead of taking the gun and pulling it from leather, I take the draw and throw the holster off underneath the gun. Now all I do is just take the gun and go boom. And then you take the left hand coming across, you go just like this. What I'm doing is going just like this, boom. That's the way it's done. Boom, like so. And I'm keeping it very close to the holster, and the end result is like so. That's the end. It is actually an invisible motion. It's just, and you've got great power with it. So if you physically set up and pump up for it, you've got that power draw. And it becomes a very, very strong draw. But on a, there it is right there. You'll see the twisting motion of the gun leather. Watch close. That's the draw. That's the complete draw. And that's the way you would shoot live ammunition. And if you're shooting a smaller target, you would slow that down. There are some people that claim to be fast with a 6-gun. And they'll use this particular draw, but understand this. If you are a stock hammer, the thumbing method, draw, you're out, and boom. Now, let's switch guns here and go to a modified gun using the same draw but with a modified hammer. Now, as I pointed out, now we're gone down to the shortest of the barrels allowed in competition. This is a 4 3/4 inch 45 Colt single action. Of a hammer, you can draw and shoot, and if you miss with the left hand, because of this modified hammer, it's easy to recover. You can really get some extra shots off. All right, this is the gun we've been shooting, the single action in a 5.5 inch barrel, and the key here is the stock hammer. This is the gun we were shooting with. Now I'm going to switch over, continuing the same kind of a draw, the thumbing method, but I'm going to go to a modified hammer here. Now if you'll see the difference there is indeed a difference between these two hammers. They're designed to do the same thing, so on, but instead of coming forward and straight back to the hammer as I did with the stock hammer, I'm going to come from low. I'm tilting the thumb here at this angle. Now what I'm doing now is coming to an up position and pulling the hand. I'm going up to the hammer. Now I go up so I can in fact cock it, but at the same time pull off of the hammer, bringing it out on target and following. Into getting the gun pulled from leather. All right, there's your same clean draw right there. Take that gun, roll it, and fire it right over the top of that holster. The limit. Here's the results. If it's done properly, this is what it looks like with a stock hammer and thumbing, a direct hit, and rolling the gun from leather. Watch close. With a stock hammer, the thumbing method, draw, you're out, and boom. At this angle. Now what I'm doing now is coming to an up position and pulling the hand. I'm going up to the hammer. Now I go up so I can in fact cock it, but at the same time pull off. We take the gun and go this way. Instead of taking the gun and pulling it from leather, I take the draw and throw the holster off underneath the gun. Boom, like so. And I'm keeping it very close to the holster, and the end result is like so. The trigger. I pull the trigger once, then I come across the thumb, cock and fire the first shot, and the little finger cocks and fires the second shot. Come across like that, and that was it. There's 2 shots. So if you slow it down, it's 1, 2. You speed it up, there it is, there's 2 shots.
Tournaments.
Well, I like the idea of women in shooting sports. I think it's very important to shooting sports to have women there, and they ought to encourage it and go out of their way to invite women to come out and shoot, because it softens the image of shooting and guns in general.
With audiences everywhere.
She's still not happy with that at all. The time? I don't know why, it's a 35/100ths of 1 second. A little over 3.5 tenths of a second. To realize the light was on, go for the gun, cock it, level it, and fire it. You were surprised, weren't you? Well, you know what? You said that last year you won this thing, too. At any rate, you know, a lot of folks, you know, that's not bad at all, but her world record doing this with a target, you'll find it listed in the Guinness Book, is a 27/100ths of 1 second, or about 800ths of a second faster than that. As you can see, we have no arguments at our house at all. Give her a hand. Not too bad. What do you think? And I can assure you, I give her 2 or 3 tries at this, and she'll shave off a little more each time. But what do you say we move up one more notch? And now introduce you to the realm of virtually the fastest thing known to man, with the exception of the speed of light, which is far beyond it, and I'm referring to fast draws. I shoot it today at its very highest level. Now at this point, I too will change methods of draw. In fact, I will join Becky what she was doing for you. She was using 2 hands to draw, cock, and fire her single-action revolver. This method of draw is called fanning. Now we discovered years ago that this is the more efficient way to achieve real speed, as you've already sampled. Now what takes place here is the right hand moves first in this 2-hand draw. We do not touch the gun prior to the draw. It is illegal to do so in tournament competition. Now the right hand will grab the gun, pull the trigger, bring the gun out. The left hand will then come across, cock the hammer, firing the gun. Now doing just that, putting it all together with maximum speed, that draw looks something like this. Now watch me go through all of those motions and compare this with anything that you can think of in regards to speed. And I do mean anything. And ladies and gentlemen, watch very close. For what you're about to see at this moment, you simply may not believe. Now keep in mind that the holster does not move, swivel, or open up in any manner. In fact, there are not 1 but 2 tie-downs on the holster to keep it quite secure. There are no spring devices like clamshells, etc. inside the holster either. The guns that my wife and I are using up here are indeed real guns. They are .45 caliber Colt single-action revolvers. They weigh a little over 2 1/4 pounds. And we do indeed shoot lots of live ammunition through these guns throughout the year. We don't hit much, but we shoot a lot of ammo through it. But for obvious reasons, we are using blanks here. Well, let's give it a try. I'll do the best that I can.
From the Guinness Book of World Records, Mr. Bob Munden. I know what you're thinking. Come on, he didn't even get that gun out of the holster. We like to show in our own way that he truly did. You just missed 1 or 2 of those steps. To prove the point, he will use a styrofoam cup. He will put this cup on the back of the hand that is now firing the gun. He's cocking the gun with the left hand. It's called fanning. When he goes for the gun with that hand to cock the hammer back so the gun will fire, the cup drops. The object draw and fire before the cup has a chance to hit the ground. That would be normal procedure. But Bob likes to speed things up. I found that out on our first date. So what he's going to attempt to do for you here is to try and draw and shoot before the cup has a chance to drop.
Now I know there's a yo-yo or 2 out there that actually have it in their mind that I'm going to stick that cup up there and give it one of these. Man, you've got to be kidding. That is the only left hand I've got. I'm not about to go shooting holes in them for laughs. And if this is what you had in your mind, you were not paying attention. The hand that is now holding the cup is the same hand that will cock and fire the gun. See, you were not paying attention. Am I going to throw the cup in the air? Well, let me show you just how fast I would have to draw the gun if I were to throw the cup in the air, even a little bit. Watch this. Wasn't that sudden? I just about ripped the grips right off the gun on that one. Well, needless to say, I'm not going to throw the cup in the air. A little obvious, isn't it? Is it coming out of the holster? Well, let's find out. There's only one way to hit that cup, and that's to draw the gun and fire it, wouldn't you say? Let's give it a try.
That's humor in here. I want you all to watch that cup real close. But he doesn't do it all the time. is coming out of the holster, isn't it? You bet it is. What about control of any kind? I mean, how can he possibly maintain enough control at this incredible speed to hit a target? Well, we'll put up a balloon target. He'll stand close. We're shooting blanks right now. The unburnt powder has to reach that balloon to break it. But this will tell us if he can maintain control. Wide open speed shooting from the holster. Name of the game, fast. As fast as you can move. It's a lot of fun. Don't ever try fast draw like this with live ammunition, okay? Just a word of advice there. But how fast is the draw? Why is it you can't see it like you can in the Western movies? We'd like to explain that for you by timing it on the clock, just the draw itself. The way we'll do this, Bob will put his gun hand on the button that actually works the timer. When he presses a button down, it will set it. When he releases that button to go for the gun, the clock will start. And when he fires it, the sound is what stops the clock. This will tell us just how fast he's actually moving his two hands to draw and fire this 45 single action. Let's see why Bob has won all his championships and is recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest man with a gun who ever lived.
Now, as a comparison, before I make this particular draw, keep in mind that Dylan of Gunsmoke, for years we've watched him draw and fire his gun. When he did, he averaged between 8 to 8.5 tenths of 1 second to do so. That's right here at the 80, where my finger is now on the timer, at the 80. The clock is now standing at 55, a little over. We'll call it a 55. That is 5.5 tenths of 1 second. Jerry Lewis, Sammy Davis Jr., the very best among movie stars of all time, in their prime and best years were quite consistent between 4 to 4.5 tenths of a second, or at the 40, where my hand is now, at the 40. It takes you 15 hundredths of 1 second. That's between 0 and the 10 and the 20 here, simply to blink your eye. That's as fast as you can go, that is if you're human. Look at that, 500 people blinking their eyes. Feel the breeze? Well, we're going to show you why you cannot see this. It is truly happening much faster than we humans really can see. You will never see this kind of a draw in a Western movie either. It is simply too fast. Unbelievable on film, and for good reason. But if you were to ask me how fast I can draw this gun, or many people do, I find telling them with words to be quite difficult, if not impossible. For we are truly dealing within a time element here that you're simply not familiar with. Prior to this show, in your mind, 1 second was fast. Let me try to show you just how slow 1 second really is. Now keep in mind that 1 second is one time all the way around the face of that timer right there. 1001. There it is, 1001. Well, let's see where the clock stops this time, and then we'll do something very special. But let's get this out of the way first.
Elapsed time on the clock, just for the draw itself, is 4/100ths of 1 second, and you wondered why you couldn't see it.
Shooting guns is my living. That's all I do. The show, I have two shows. The show I shoot the least of is my live ammunition show, because the facility's necessary. You've got to be up against the hillside to some degree. You can shoot on the flat in some of the things I do, but you've got to be at a gun range no matter what. And there just aren't that many sponsors that'll bring you in and pay that kind of money to have you way out there in the North 40. On the other hand, my stage show can be used, brother, I do all kinds of car dealers, shopping malls, fairs, amusement parks, conventions, just every kind of area you can imagine for entertainment. We cover it. We've worked in prestigious places like Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Radio City Music Hall, New York City, the Steel Pier in Atlantic City, the Six Flags, Mid-America, some of their amusement parks, some of the greatest amusement parks in this country. We've been overseas, entertaining in Europe, like England. We've entertained the Paul Daniels Show in England, which was syndicated and sent all over the world in the European nation. We also did shows in New Zealand, and we have other places we'd like to go, but because of their no-gun policy, why it's been very difficult to get in there. When I say no guns, even though they don't, like Japan's very difficult to get over there with a gun because of their, you got to come up with special equipment and guns and whatever, because they flat no guns there. Of course, we make a lot of guns there, but they make them, produce them, put them together, and send them back to us. But there are no guns allowed. An Uzi 45 caliber, which is 550 rounds a minute. All right, here it is, a close-up of the same thing. Let's get the gun out and do a little rapid-fire sequence for you.